Yeah. It is.
This is the Grow Business Podcast.
I'm so pleased to hear. I'm kinetic.
You are.
I don't know what that means, but I think I like it.
I think it means you're electric.
Yeah, I'm electric.
You are full of electricity.
I'm electric.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with it's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
That's right. The electric slide.
The electric slide.
It's electric.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now,
The bane of wedding.
do you know what that song is actually about?
Boogie, woogie, woogie?
No, the electric slide.
I am really putting thought into it.
Well, I'm not going to get into it, but I encourage you
I'll have to go back
to
now.
look up the origin of the electric slide.
Okay.
And the term and listen to those lyrics again,
Okay.
and then you'll see something interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, all right. That's my homework.
yeah, there it is. It's your
Here's my
homework. We're gonna
homework,
figure it
right.
out. But in the meantime,
Right.
if Willie H ever turns the music off, we're gonna get the show started here today.
Good
We
day
got to
for a
get
good
moving
day.
and grooving. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Mosley, joined by Smooth Daddy Delight. Do people? I know you have family that watches the show.
Right.
Do they just say, what is that? What is that, Mosley? What is this? I'm joined by Smooth Daddy Delight.
Right.
I'm trying to get you on some apps. What's going on? I want to get you on some apps. I want to see what you have to give me an update. We got to talk offline. We can get LG married off. LG 007 is here.
Voice of Reason.
It's good to be here, Cory.
And of course, the man behind the boards, he's 2 minutes in, born to win. Failing is a sin. Feeling gitchy right now.
There you are, yeah.
Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
All right, we've got another great show for you. This is the Grow Business Podcast, where we focus on doing one thing, helping you grow your business. We're not here to be your gurus, but we do want to share some ideas based on experiences and some things that are happening right now in the marketplace that could possibly help you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, if they do, we take full credit.
And you better believe it.
And if they don't, you didn't hear from us.
That's right.
Suck it.
It was an AI reproduced.
Yeah. We're here to
podcast.
do what? Yeah, we're here to try. This is the Try to Grow Business Podcast, right? We want you to take it action. We do
Right.
want to entertain.
Please.
We want to inspire, and we want to motivate you to take some action, give you some good ideas, and we're going to do that again today. We base our show around the 5 pillars of business growth: mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people.
And people.
You go deeper on that, learn more in my latest book, Position for Growth. Encourage you to check
Yay.
that out. Yeah. Encourage you to check out Position for Growth, shipping on Amazon or on CoryMosley.com.
Yeah.
We love to have your $20.
We want to get Cory.
Oh,
we
hey.
want Cory to
I
have
was gonna
writer's
say,
cramps.
No, I'm sorry. We love to. I want to pour this education into you.
That's exactly
And give you
right.
$20. So we've never had a return. So I think you'll be delighted by the ideas. Hey, if you like what we talk about in this 30, 40, 50 minute, 1 hour podcast,
Right.
just imagine what's going to be in the book.
Absolutely.
So-
It's inspired by that.
And it's written for entrepreneurs who have and business owners who have a lot to do. So I'm not going to make you read a 600-page.
Right.
It's not the Iliad or the Odyssey here.
Right.
But we do break down the 5 pillars and give you some practical strategy. So
Right.
would love for you to support what we're doing, support the show. And one of the easiest ways to start doing that is to get Position for Growth in your hand. So LG 007, you broke your streak last week
Yeah.
of predicting what pillar we were going to cover today. I'm not going to, I was going to say something that would have given it away. I am almost 100% certain you will fail to get this right because I've done something unpredictable.
Okay.
But man, by saying that, I might have let the cat out of the
Right.
bag. Go ahead.
I think you gave me a clue. We're going to go with marketing today.
That makes me so mad. I should have never said. I knew as I was saying it.
If you wouldn't have
I
said it,
knew you were going to
wouldn't
pick up. See, you're sharp. That's why you're here. That's why you're in the co-pilot chair. You're sharp. I knew I shouldn't have said that. Oh.
Bingo.
I'm so mad at myself right now because you would not have seen that coming if I
No.
hadn't have said that. And you
Definitely
picked it
not.
up. That's why I get a lot of good compliments about our, working chemistry here on the show. Cause see, you pick up something like that where someone might not have gotten it.
We've been together for long before we started this show.
Yes.
So we've got history.
All right. Reluctantly. Yes. Yes. LG has tried to get me hooked on whiskey.
Yay. Indeed.
Leave it to your older Caucasian friend to bring over 9 bottles of whiskey.
Leave it to the old white guy to bring over a bunch of brown water.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah, I burned my esophagus up that evening. That's great. All right, yeah. So we're in marketing, but the angle we're going to come from here is we're going to talk about the idea of the rebrand. Okay. Understanding and really determining if you should be rebranding, if you should be updating your branding. Okay. And if so, what are some of the benefits, right? So kind of, I think we'll hit the signs and then we'll hit the benefits. Okay. And we'll kind of approach it that way. Yeah. Man, I'm starving. It just hit me. Express podcast. There you go. That's right. I'm very hungry right now.
Might be a
but I want to get to this information. Yeah, I want to get to this information though.
We'll still do it right.
Yeah.
We'll still do it upright.
Allegedly. Yeah, that's going to be the goal. Right. Our heart's in the right place.
100%.
But man, I could use a snack. All right, so let's talk about that because this is important because now I want to distinguish something here. Okay. Because, we're not really talking to the major corporation audience. There's people who update stuff, and I understand what they're trying to do because you want to appear fresh and cutting edge. So I get that, and I'm all for it. Right. But sometimes people change things so minor. Right. Millions of dollars later, it's like, okay, that's what we did. That's the rebrand. Correct. We curved the words. Right. Because we wanted to show the softer side of our brand. Right. So, I'm talking about probably something a little more significant in terms of how you're going to look at that at the small business level. We're doing that now. We've got some we like to use contests. We like to use where graphic designers will compete. Right. Different things like that. So we've got some of our small business clients that are proactively I'm so encouraged. I talked about this last time. I'm so encouraged by many of you we're talking to that are just proactive. Yeah. You know what? We've had this brand for, 10 years and it's done us well. We've been successful. But you know what? Now I think feels like a good time to refresh, to take another approach, to take another approach in what our message is and how we're attracting people. So I really want to commend all the business owners that are taking that leap of faith in many ways in doing that. So, let's talk about where is your perspective on the importance of branding before we jump into the list?
Well, branding is your identity. So branding itself is important. And look, as human beings, our identity evolves as we grow. As we get older, we learn more, we do things differently, we have different experiences. So how we act and our identity continues to evolve. It doesn't necessarily always change, but it certainly continues to evolve. And that's also true for businesses. So as early on as a business, your identity is going to be one thing. Right. And as your business evolves and evolves is certainly subjective. Are we talking about 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? It really depends on what kind of business you're in and the marketplace that business exists in. Yep. And also your ideal customer profile, does that continue to evolve as well? So if you look at branding as your identity and understand that you need to be able to be identified as something. Right. Once your business evolves beyond what your current identity is, that's a good time to start thinking about, okay, how do I want to reintroduce myself and reintroduce my identity? And I think that's what we're talking about when we're talking about branding.
So I think, absolutely. And I think that falls into a couple categories. And I think some of this here, actually, I'm just going to be very efficient, not just because I'm starving, but just because of the way I think the content has come together. Sure. There's signs, right? And then there's kind of things there's signs and there's data that goes with that. Yeah. So kind of so I'll start with number one, your brand looks outdated. Okay. It's kind of like looking at video. Yeah. you can tell
Sure.
if the video was from the 90s.
Right.
If you look at video from the 90s
Right.
and then look at video from today.
Yeah.
Right. So there's just a general, I'll go to certain people's websites and, like, oh, Cory, yeah, I've been on TV. Great. That guy's dead, by the way.
Right.
That the show that you were on, that guy's
Right.
that guy's dead. Like
Right.
that video is old. It's in 4.3, which
Sure.
for those that's a square
Right.
kind of thing. Like, so it's like it just looks outdated. The
Right.
logo looks old. It looks, and like Stevie Wonder could see it. I'm talking about that, right? Like it's outdated in that perspective, right?
Right.
So the overall aesthetic, it looks like it belongs in another decade.
Right.
Unless that's your theme, right? You own a retro restaurant,
Right.
a retro diner, then I guess the retro look, neons and stuff
Or retro
would be
record
would be great.
store.
Yeah, of course.
Vinyl.
Right,
Sure.
play to the audience.
Correct.
So the brand looks outdated. Customers are confused about what you do.
Okay.
Like, kind of, what does this logo, mean?
Right.
And, again, you can't rely on, which is why a lot of times I don't know what the design term is. I should know, but I don't. A lot of times the name is just in the logo.
Right.
Right. Not complicated yet.
Correct. Right.
Netflix.
Right.
We're not. It's not necessarily a symbol per se. Like, we all know the thump, the thung, the dong when it comes on, and
Oh yeah.
everybody like Hulu, all those guys have their distinctive things, but
Correct.
for a lot of them, the name is strictly just in the logo. Like,
Right.
we keep it simple.
Like ESPN.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Right.
Versus the other brands that have the iconic brands, right? No, you don't have to drive a BMW to recognize that logo, or an Audi logo to
Right.
recognize the rings. You don't have to have that there. But your brand looks outdated. Customers are confused about what you do, maybe based on that. Also, I wanted to look at a couple that were more like no-brainers, or
Yeah.
kind of things you would look at. And the other one is your brand no longer aligns with your values or vision,
Okay.
right? So, you've got like a motorcycle in your thing and you sell bicycles now.
Right. Right. Exactly.
What are some of your thoughts there?
Well, I think, you talk about your brand no longer aligns with your vision. I think about the Wright brothers, right? The Wright brothers that designed the first passenger airplane.
Thank you for clarifying.
Well,
I was a little unsure
But
who
they-
you were talking about when you said the Wright brothers.
but when you
I
talk
thought you were
about
talking about the bacon guys. I think the Wright brothers bacon.
Right.
But thank you for that education there.
well, there is a Wright brothers moving company. So,
Okay.
but
there you go. That was
Right.
really on the tip of my tongue there.
but the Wright brothers
I'm
started.
sure this analogy is going to play to the Wright brothers movie company.
Right, it's
Go
not.
ahead.
Okay, but they started as with a bicycle shop, and then went from a bicycle shop and used that technology and ideas
Right.
to design the airplane, and so that's an extension or building on what you had
Yep.
and turning it into something new. Well, if you're doing that with your business, that's what I think. That's what I'm thinking about. What has changed?
Right.
And does what you currently have represent who you are now, represent your identity now? And does it, you talked about values, does it represent the space that you're in?
Right.
And does it
Some people get silly, though.
well, yeah.
Have you ever driven by a store and they try to be so elaborate with the logo, you can't even read
Yes.
what the logo is?
Yes.
I drive past a place every day, and I don't know who designed that, hands and swoop and doves, and I can't even make out what any of it is.
Right.
It seems like but somebody was really excited about that.
well, yeah, because it's
You've got to have practicality, though. I say this so much. It is not simply about what you like.
right. Well, it goes back to, and we had this conversation in the last episode, and we talk about it a lot. Who is your ideal client profile? Who is your avatar?
Right.
And what is going to attract them? What is going to resonate in their mind when they see it?
Yeah. It's just, and does it look, you're going to spend all that money to put up a sign, and people can't even read it.
Okay.
You've scripted out something. I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't know if you do nails. I don't know if you teach ballet.
Right.
I don't know if you sell olive oil. I don't
Yeah.
know what's happening there, because it's just that's what the sign looked like. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, and you can get
Make that something Willie hates.
you can get so clever that it's confusing.
Yes. That's for sure. That's for sure. We got to keep it simple, like the new LG logo coming soon. Yeah,
coming soon.
Keep it simple.
I like where it's
What's
going
his
with it
word?
for sure.
LG. LG.
Well, and rebranding too in the new year. When I first named my company, I named it based on need and because I needed to start something up because I bought a franchise. And now, as I want to go do something else, I changed the name of my company in the new year and rebranding with a new logo, and it's going to be more indicative of what I wanted to accomplish.
Right. Up and away.
There you go.
Moving in the right direction.
That's right.
Isosceles triangles. He's got diagrams. LG turned into an architect. Yeah. Can I get a 32-degree curve on this one here? I'm talking about you.
Yes, you are.
I want to work with.
Can you move that one scintilla to the left to get it perfect?
Right.
That's what happens, folks, when somebody's like sending you messages at 2 a.m. You know, that's it right there. He wants to move something one scintilla
just a little bit
at 2 a.m. Right. That's when you just say, go to bed.
Right. You see, we'll talk
Boy,
about
bye.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. Right. Exactly.
All right.
Awesome.
Next up, signs of rebranding. Your business has evolved. You talked about this with the Kitty Hawk and the Wright brothers. Wright brothers, airplanes, not to be confused with the bacon or the moving company, apparently. Exactly. LG wants you to know. So your business has evolved. You've expanded your services, or maybe you've changed your target audience, or you've just pivoted in any way that the brand, it doesn't make sense the same way it did before. So it certainly should reflect that. I remember years ago in the auto industry, there's a publication that's called F&I Magazine. So in the auto industry, F&I stands for finance and insurance.
Oh, okay.
So basically, when you go to buy a car, after you make your deal, then to go do your paperwork, you typically will go into what we call the F&I office, finance insurance office. So it's a publication that was F&I Magazine.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Finance insurance magazine. They dealt with all those things. As time wanted to evolve, and the world just became more competitive, they realized that obviously they needed in order to grow, they needed to come outside of that niche.
Okay.
So they just chose not to reinvent the wheel. Now I know because I became the first writer that was a sales writer.
Okay.
For that publication for a number of years. So they changed the publication to F&I and showroom.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, didn't reinvent the wheel here, right? So, and showroom which meant front end, again, industry publication.
Right.
So I know what that means.
Right.
It's not like USA, a general publication. So F&I and showroom added it in, got it up under there in the logo, and now started talking. Now that gave them creative license to still be on brand, but to now expand outside of the F&I department.
Right. And so, and same lane though.
Yeah.
Still the auto industry.
Right, correct.
Yes.
Correct. But now they were able to expand, and it was just a natural extension, and then it made sense.
Correct.
Versus trying to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Or whatever. Now it might be, if they ever become, F&I and showroom and boats, now it starts to get a little weird. But, it was just a little adjustment.
Yeah.
Now, again, sometimes you don't have to overcomplicate it, right?
Correct.
So business has evolved. Also, you're blending in with competitors.
Yeah.
Your branding doesn't stand out.
Correct.
So now you're missing an opportunity to differentiate. I've always found that interesting in the speaking community. When, if we go to industry events,
right,
like people who have these real hardcore themes, like red hair, spiked hair, this, that, or the other.
Right.
I just find it fascinating. Because you really, it's a performance. You're committing.
Yeah.
And people and if you look at, people whose brands have evolved and changed, and you're like, oh, okay, great. They've got more peacockish.
Right.
Particularly if you're talking about your personal brand.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's just that refreshing and that idea, but you're blending in where it's like, man, that logo looks like somebody else's, or that branding looks like somebody else's. Now you shake it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, and talking about the speaking events, how do you distinguish yourself from somebody in your lane or in your space?
Right.
What makes you different? And sometimes it's got to be the look, because the look and the entertainment and the way you deliver that information,
right?
Because the information in and of itself can often have similar themes,
right?
But you've got to be able to distinguish yourself, and then so you use some of that branding to create a different lane for yourself.
And you got to look comfortable.
Yeah.
So don't go that route. Like just in your and again, we're kind of looking at like the person, like how they look, but just even in your branding, if it's not you,
right,
you've got kind of this, stiffer branding, but you're like basically a comedian in everything that you do.
right,
Or you've got, like I wouldn't expect to see some bold, corporate fonts for a nursery.
right, right.
Kind of that kind of thing.
Correct.
So I think it's important to have perspective on that. With the evolution though, is also next up. It's kind of like your target audience has shifted.
Right.
Maybe you're skewing younger. Maybe you're doing those kinds of things. In terms of what your look will be, or feminine versus masculine.
Correct.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is going the other way. Not necessarily that your audience gets younger, but your audience grows, and your business grows with them.
Yeah.
So they start. Maybe you started with them in their 20s, and you were in their 20s, and now they're in their 30s, and you're in their 30s, and you're growing. Your business is evolving with the needs that they have in their life. Start to look at how does your new logo represent what you're now doing as an extension of the growth of your clients.
Voice of reason.
There you go, right there. That's it right there. Yeah, exactly. Landon, I was watching when we ate to see if he was paying attention on the internet.
He's checking logos.
Yeah, right. He's checking
research.
Logos.
He's doing research.
And remember who you came to the dance with. All right, there, LG. Hold on. All right. Your digital presence isn't working.
Right.
And from that perspective, one of the obvious things is, why are you laughing already? I haven't said anything. I don't know why people do that. It's a constant thing. People in my ecosystem.
I think I know where you're going with this.
No. I'm. This is the message here is cohesive.
Correct.
So you're lacking it, right? So if I go to your website, if I look at your social media, if I look at some of your other marketing, it doesn't feel cohesive. It doesn't look like it flows.
Right.
Maybe you've got 3 or 4 different vendors working on certain things that aren't unified.
Right.
In that messaging or that voice.
Yeah.
And it's tricky in this AI world and in this world where, you're putting out content maybe that doesn't sound like you or whatever. You're like, you're letting some of the, AI and technology do too much of the work. Yeah. It's not even your voice.
Right. And those are conversations that we've had. Those are conversations that happen a lot, especially in marketing and leadership. Is what, like, at what point do you let AI take over?
Right.
And because when you let AI take over, it gets away from you. It gets it, and so you want to. And the word I'll use is recognizable.
Right.
If you're on social media and your website and your branding and your logo, you want all of those things to be recognizable as you or as your business.
Right.
And so you want to say, oh yeah, it's like music, right? I mean, different musicians have different cadences and different themes, and when you listen to somebody, you tend to recognize their voice and who they are.
Right.
And so that's what we want with your brand, right?
Right?
We want you to be recognizable across all platforms and be recognized for the same things.
Right. Use these services as tools, not as replacements for, just taking over your voice.
100%.
So, all right. You're experiencing a decline in business.
Yeah.
Right? Sales, engagement are dropping. Outdated branding. People don't think you're current. People don't think. I mean, that's why the big corporations do it too.
Right.
We've talked about this before, but so you're seeing it in your pocket.
Correct.
Now that's probably not the only problem.
Right.
But it's certainly a great time because there's a so we talk about the 5 pillars. Right. Some of them merge together.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity that you create momentum.
Yes.
With a fresh brand, with a fresh look and feel also. That gives you a emotional sense of a rebirth or relaunch or new opportunity too to be considered.
Well, and not only does it give you an opportunity to do that, you want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to rebrand, launch it. If you're going to rebrand, make a big deal out of it. If you're going to change your logo or change or update your image, make a big deal out of it. Use it as a promotional opportunity to reintroduce your business as updated and fresh and all the things that we're talking about.
Yep, 100%. Willie H is a little light today.
Maybe this guy can help me.
Yeah. A little light on the.
Got light on that.
Sometimes he's overboard, and then sometimes we need to get just right. Just season it up a little bit. Just right. Willie H, are you here? Are you here today to tell us if you're here? Let us know.
The church say amen. And you better believe
Push the button. Oh, now he's just going to, sorry, in the flurry and talk over me. All right, next up here. You're expanding into new markets.
Right.
Okay. So a fresh brand can help you have an impact. New industries, new regions, I didn't know they did that.
Right.
Right. So now you're having that. And again, sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's more complex.
Right.
Apple rolls out something new, they just put plus in front of it.
Right. Exactly.
Talk about phoning it in.
or point something.
How many hours did they sit around in that circle office of theirs, that spaceship office?
Right.
You know what? Let's just put plus in front of it. I got it. Plus. Right?
Yeah, true.
Disney. What are we going to call this thing? Plus. It's Disney plus a little bit more.
That's exactly right.
Right? So, I guess, you don't have to go through the whole, rebrand sometimes.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, and what they're doing is maintaining true to their anchor, and their anchor is Disney's Disney.
Yep.
Apple's Apple, Pixar. What they're doing is that's an example of we're updating,
right?
We're adding, but it's an extension of our brand. It's not something new, and so
still Apple.
It's still Apple,
but plus,
right? With a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more.
That's right.
Expanding into new markets. Yeah. So, I said that. Merging and acquiring other businesses.
Yeah.
So one. That's one that typically can make a lot of sense. Particularly if you want to also project a fresh start. Truist Bank is probably the best example of that.
Right.
In the last few years.
Right.
With SunTrust, and you had your opinions of that, and then you had BB&T, which kind of had like a more blah, like the brown, kind of thing. And then I guess if you mix brown and blue together, you get purple.
There you go. That's
I hadn't really. And now it's Truist, right? So you didn't have that's probably the best example. And at that level, you go through the pains of doing that and all the things that go along with that.
Right.
But for smaller business, maybe some easier lift.
Right.
In terms of making that transition, but. That acquisition piece also gives you the opportunity, because you don't know if you don't have a clear cut. Now you've got Google reviews and other things that can give you an indication, but if you're doing an acquisition, really having you don't know how many people you really got to go deep into how many people could have been turned off. That's why you always see the under new management banners.
Right.
Like when you see that, that's also generally because that previous business might piss so many people off.
Right. Right, the previous leadership. And
Do you change a name that was great for 50 years and had high, do you go through that effort unless you're an egomaniac of changing that? No, it's under new management because we had a 2.1 on Google, and we don't want you associating us with them.
Right. We want you to recognize the brand and recognize that we're going to do something different with it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so I'm going to leave it there on the some signs, some things for you to look for, and then we're going to circle back at okay, great. Why? What are some of the outcomes?
Right.
So I'm going to rattle off a few of these, and then I'll have you jump in. Number one, obviously, new branding, increased customer engagement. A fresh modern brand attracts attention, can make people want to engage with you. Also, stronger brand positioning.
Okay.
The ability, again, so it's kind of like we said, the problem now in that case by case is solving it, because differentiation from competition is kind of what we talked about a minute ago, which was you're blending in too much. So now does this boldness get you to stick out, come out? But I laugh in my head because I've been in meetings with corporations where, like, I'm sorry, sometimes they take this too seriously. like I've had people try to break down what we want to accomplish here with the 5 boxes is the interlocking of the intertwining of our products and services as they all connect the dots in a universal way to create conformity and growth across the spectrum. Lady, it's 5 rectangles. 5 squares. Like sometimes you can buy a little bit too much into your own hype, I think, in my opinion. So jump in where you want.
Well, I think, where you're talking about that, that's people that have the luxury of that kind of investment. And we're not necessarily talking to people that have the luxury of that kind of investment. What the benefits of, like you talked about though, is as you rebrand, you stand out a little bit. Your ideal client identifies with you better. These are things, again, we talk about your brand is your identity.
Yes.
And so what you're doing when you refresh or completely rebrand is you're renewing or restating your identity. And by doing that, you're differentiating yourself not only from who your competition is, but you're differentiating yourself from who you used to be into who you are now. And that creates some updates, that creates some interest, and that creates some intrigue.
Creates higher perceived value.
100%.
Which is another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So higher perceived value. There's so much psychology to support that too. And it's the classic stories that a lot of people know. The old, Martha Stewart, pies were $2.50, nobody bought them. Same pie, $8.50, selling off the shelves, right? Yeah. That was a classic. That's a classic case of perceived value. We have that a lot. My wife follows this TikTok, this leather guy. He's on TikTok. He's not a TikToker, but he's a, what do you call him? A tannery, a leather, someone who works with leather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he buys all these expensive labels, and then he deconstructs the bag. So he'll go out and get a $3,000, Christian Dior bag, and then bring it back to and then video him taking it apart and showing you if it's quality or not quality, and kind of dissecting some of the brands that are overhyped, versus the ones that aren't. So, it's surprising.
Interesting.
It's surprising when he says, this is mid leather at best, or this isn't, surely not worth $3,000. This is probably a $150 bag or something like that. And then there's other stuff that surprises you, like where it's like, okay, this is a lot of money, and it is worth the value.
Well, it's
or maybe not worth the value, but like it's a quality product. They didn't just slap a logo on it.
Sure.
And where this could have been something else.
Well, that logo or that brand has confidence. Or the people can have confidence in that brand. As he deconstructs that leather, he says, well, here's the brand. Here's what you're getting.
Right.
This is why you can have confidence in that.
I remember years ago, I was much younger. I'm probably a teenager. DKNY was very hot. Donna Karan, New York, DKNY. It was everywhere. It was DKNY, Polo, Hilfiger. And I remember I had a pair of DKNY jeans, and you're proud. You're like, oh, you got your labels. It is what it is. Even today, people are that way.
Right.
And like DKNY, and I was laying down. I never forget this. It popped as soon as we talked about it. I was laying down, and jeans have the rivets.
Yeah.
Where they bring the stitching together, the rivets. And I remember looking at the rivet on my jean, and it said Banana Republic. That should be against the law.
Should be against the law.
Like, which just meant they came down the same factory line.
Right.
So I just paid more because it said DKNY on it. Like, then there's things that you can touch and feel.
Right.
And obviously see the difference.
Right.
So I think the key is, knowing the difference. But even so, the idea though, but just by saying it was DKNY, that elevated my perceived value, only to find out apparently that, Tuesdays DKNY and Wednesdays the run is for Banana Republic. I'm at a much lower price point. So higher perceived value, even if it's not.
Right.
Even in that simplicity of doing that. Okay. Boost in sales and conversions, clear messaging, more compelling visuals, identity. This happens all the time.
Right.
And you see companies do that rebranding, Again, they do 1.0 to get it out there.
Right.
And then you see them get more sophisticated in terms of how they approach it, which is usually a byproduct of dollars and cents too, right?
Right.
We've raised $10 million. All of a sudden, our brand looks great now.
Exactly.
Our website looks, vastly different. We built it custom. We don't have a template. I mean, TV shows work that way.
Yeah.
Watch a pilot episode of a TV show and then watch it in season 2, or watch the back half.
Right.
When they greenlit the first 9 episodes and then, they gave them the second, you see the shift in the dollars and cents, the set, where they do things, how more elaborate things get.
Right.
The acting gets better somehow. I don't even know. So, yeah.
Well, what it demonstrates is a different level of investment in the brand, a different level of investment in the product. And that's going to increase what you just talked about. That's going to increase the perceived value. And if you promote it appropriately,
right,
the update, if you make a big deal out of, this is what we're doing now, this is what we look like, this is why we're doing it, we've made some changes, our brand is different, our business is different. It increases the perceived value, which is what you were talking about. And it's a great opportunity because people have an increase in perceived value. They're going to be more likely to invest in buying from you. They're going to be more likely to be willing to do business with you.
That's right. I like it. All right, let's stack up a few more of these. Attract your ideal clients.
Yes.
Enhance your brand reputation. And allow your marketing efforts to produce more effective results.
Okay. I think all 3 of those together is really creating an environment where your ideal client can identify with your business.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is you've reshaped your messaging and your brand. And what you've done now is you said, this is what we're going after. And those people then have the ability to self-identify.
Right.
Like, oh, this is for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
that's it.
I thought we were going to get something.
Oh, yeah.
But I dropped off. But I think all of those things are what we're trying to do is get our ideal client, especially if they've evolved, to recognize that we're for them and to get them to self-identify.
Gotcha. Maybe this guy can help me. He's back at it now.
He's back in the saddle.
Yeah, well, it's one of those days. I think. I think that's. Well, we're not repeating. Last week, the Mercury was in retrograde or something. It was bananas.
Yes.
Just all kinds of crazy things were happening. There'd be some new business, but all other types of, I don't know, just stuff flying away. I don't know, just. Yeah. I don't know. It was really something crazy going on. All right, so I like those. I like everything you're saying there. Here's something we might not be thinking about. Also, better adaptability to market trends, right? So keeping the brand modern makes it easier to compete.
Okay.
In a fast-changing environment.
Okay.
Just thinking about, like, even from a software end, or like even your brand, like sometimes your rebrand also involves new technology.
Yes.
So like we've moved most of our website products to another, we've moved off of WordPress.
Okay.
To another platform called Duda.
Okay.
Which is built on Amazon, and again, kind of the new way forward.
Sure.
So not only did we change the website or refresh the website when we made that move, but there was also the technology there. So now we're also better positioned.
Okay.
Because it's consistently scoring, it's faster and
Okay.
quicker, lightning fast. So there were improvements not only in the rebrand, but we're now able to adapt to move faster.
Okay.
Have quicker load times, things that matter
Right.
in that world.
Right. Well, especially, when you're talking about dense content, right? When you're talking about video type content.
Yeah, sure.
When you're talking about the things that that really represent you, you want those to be efficient. You want them to be quick. You want them to be identifiable.
100%. All right. 2 more.
Okay.
More effective marketing efforts. Did I say that one?
Can't say it enough.
Okay.
I don't know if you
there
did,
you go.
but you
Good
can't say it
answer.
enough.
Good answer. Bring that guy back next week. More effective marketing results. With the bottom line being, Stronger branding
Yes.
makes ads, social media, and other promotions more impactful.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Yep.
Okay.
Agree.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, look.
There you go. Harry kicks in. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
I gave him an opening there. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, the reality of it is that you want people to know that you are evolving. You want people to know that you are responsive. You want people to know that you recognize that things change in your world.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these rebranding things give you an opportunity to re-identify with your ideal client.
That's right.
If your ideal client has evolved, then you get them to recognize that you've evolved with them and that you're still for them. You're just for them in a different way. And by rebranding, it gives you an opportunity to reclaim control of your messaging. Because sometimes if we sit on the old messaging, we just rely on it. And rebranding allows you to reclaim control of that and get clear. Because remember we talked about, and what is the Donald Miller brand? The story brand.
Yeah.
You know, he talks about how
they got an AI version of that now, of course, as you imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
That does it for you. Plug and play.
But clever's confusing, right? And and that's what he talks about is clear is better, clever is confusing.
Yes, sure.
So by reclaiming your messaging, you can get clearer for you, for the people inside your organization, and for the people.
Did you get the triple entendre, the double entendre, the meaning of what he said when he said it that way?
Right.
The logo really means this, but it makes you think about that too.
Right.
we need, you know what we need to find, Willie H? We need to find the ain't nobody got time for that girl. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
Oh, Jesus, Lord Jesus, there's a fire. All right, here's the last one.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Here's the last one.
Okay.
I like this one because it falls into the mindset standpoint.
Right.
Renewed excitement and energy.
Yes.
The idea that a rebrand can simply reinvigorate your team, reinvigorate your customers, and could even reignite and reinvigorate your own passion for the business.
100%.
To go, you know what? We're going to 2.0 or 3.0.
Right.
Now, this is a new day, a new dawn, and there's a lot of energy and momentum that goes along with that. That's very powerful.
100%. Because if you're doing it right, you're reevaluating everything.
Right.
And by reevaluating all of these things so that you can accurately represent your brand, your business with your new branding, it draws and stirs up what got you started,
right?
What you want to do. If it invigorates you as the leader, as the owner, then the people that follow you are going to get more excited too. And so by digging into that and really figuring out what it is that you want this to look like, it should inspire you.
That's right. We want you to be inspired. Yes. And if you are so inspired, you're going to type Amazon.com right now or pull up your app because who are you kidding?
Right.
You don't need to type it in. It's probably saved and cookied and you know you're delivering, man. You're going to order your copy of Position for Growth, now available on Amazon. You can also go to CoryMosley.com.
100%.
All right, we did it.
We did it. It was good.
We did it.
We did it. Absolutely.
Another Grow Business podcast. What was that?
I got time for that.
You found it. I got time for that.
Good. Yeah.
Lord Jesus, there's a fire. Classics. Those are classics right
those
there.
Are good. Absolutely.
All right.
Good stuff. Yeah.
We're out. Mic drop. We're going to start doing the mic drop there.
Well, you know, we'll
give them the thank you.
We'll wrap it up by saying this. All the things we talked about in the beginning, is your brand truly representative of who you are now and your identity and the identity of your business? Take a look at that. This is our takeaway. We talk about giving them a takeaway from now on moving forward. Look at it, and does it really represent you? Or is it time for you to rethink how you show up in the marketplace and how you show up for your clients?
Yeah.
So thank you for coming. Thank you for coming back.
Yes, we appreciate your support, your viewership, your listenership. I'm going to get a cheesesteak now.
There you go.
So I'm Cory Mosley for LG007 Lawngram and Willie H. This has been another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. I said it in reverse. That's what happens when you're emaciated. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Willie H. Take us out.
Yeah, it's time for a silence for sure.
Yes. Cheesesteak near me. Long tail search.
Where did I get?
Sandanos. You got to go there.
Where's that?
That's the best. Twin Hickory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one guy.
That's right next to
Pizza Hut.
the Pizza Hut, the Twin Hickory Taverns right there.
Uh-huh.
and-
Yeah, on the other side, the Food
Yeah.
Lion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Sandanos.
Okay.
You got to catch him in a good mood.
Okay. Well,
No
one-
soup for you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, one of our clinics is in that public shopping center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for the new company.
Across the street.
Yeah, it's in
Okay,
that public
gotcha.
center. Across, so
Okay.
we're directly across from Knuckles Road.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That's
So
where
I
it
know
is.
exactly where it is. Okay.
Have to check it out.
I will definitely have to check that out.
Doing whatever hours, he says.
What's that?
Doing whatever hours, he says.
Doing whatever hours he. Sounds like the bakery downstairs.
Oh, jeez.
It's a when we feel like.